So what do you think was the key for you to sort of turn it up a notch all of a sudden last weekend? Not all of a sudden, we saw a lot of glimpses through non-conference, especially when you played the Texases and Gonzagas of the world, that you could play those teams and be right in those games. But when you play this past weekend, it's like you just were on another level.
Yeah, I think that we have some confidence. I think that we played a really good game, played hard against Colorado. The zone kind of affected us, and down the stretch we became stagnant and lost that game by one. So I think for a young team to see we can play with anybody because they're a really good team, and then to turn around off momentum and play Utah, I think that it was just good. It was a really good win for us at home, and I think we were more prepared from losing to UNLV and Texas and just playing that caliber team versus like having a really bad non-conference, not playing anybody, then boom, you're playing like some really good teams. I think that's just harder, especially for a young team and a lot of new players. So I think that playing those games, although we lost, so not ideal, but just having that experience, and we had that good run against Texas at the end. So I think all those things help with your, just mentally, with your approach to like another good team.
Through 85 minutes in 3 days.
Jada talked like 2.5 days.
Jada talked a lot about that and said it was a result of the heart of this team. Yes. How much are you seeing that translate to energy on the floor?
I'm seeing it a lot. They play really hard. I think at that 44th minute, like in the overtime against Utah, I saw them running sometimes. They were trying, but it was just like, but I mean, they logged like 5 or 6 miles on Friday. I mean, playing 7 players. And then it was 7.5 because Solly hasn't practiced. She's not 100%. And then like they were just trying so hard. So I was just proud. I think that, when you're young, it's like you can play, you play AAU, you play like 3 games in a day sometimes. But I think them just knowing they're going to play, they're young, so they're just like those young legs. And I think they were just feeling good. And I think Friday, disappointed, but we could have tanked on Sunday. But I think just kind of knowing right there, they're young, they're like, just go. And I think they just played really hard and just gave it their all, and it was a good win for us.
This is the best the Pac-12 has ever been.
By far.
Seeing your team kind of go through this, is there a benefit as a coach? I'm going to take kind of a long way around this. Mm-hmm. Is there a benefit as a coach of not necessarily having to teach your team to be the hunted, that you can still kind of play up that hunter's mentality throughout with this conference being so good?
Yeah, I think so. The first thing about the conference, like it's an incredible conference. It is by far the best it's ever been from when I played, from the 8 years I've been here. This is the 8th year, and it's hard. It's so many, like there is no bad team. I think when you look at other conferences, you can get 2 or 3 wins. Like the bottom, where they're 13, 14, they're 10th, 11th, 12th. They're just teams you can beat. They might win one conference game. I don't think anybody's like that. And I think you'll see teams like sub 500 that will probably go to postseason play. And that's rare. I think it's much stronger than any other league in the country by far. We'll have more teams in postseason play, and you're seeing that right now. So it's not the best year for us to be really young, but this is going to really pay off later. It's going to really pay off when we go to the Big 12. Because the Big 12 isn't like, it's not going to be as stacked. It's also going to pay off with experience, and it's going to pay off for the tournament because we haven't had any bad losses. We've lost to good teams. They're a little better than us right now. And I think these things will really show when these kids are sophomores and juniors. And I mean, at the end of the game in overtime against number 12 in the country, 12 or 15, we had 3 freshmen and a sophomore and a 5th year. Like that's out of position and like 4 guards. So I think those are good wins with the group, and I think they know now. Like the psychological part of our game is really important, and just knowing you can play with anybody, you feel good. I think that equates to more wins in this conference, and it will. And I think it would have been very hard to win any game on the road these next 4 games if we don't get one of those games at home, because you're like defeated. You're like, oh, and I think you don't have confidence going into your next week. So I think that now we got to go on the road and try to steal a couple games. We're trying to steal all 4, but on the road, that's probably tough. But try to steal a couple, then come back and you try to win at home. But it's not easy at all. So,
what have you seen in the growth of Skylar offensively and defensively, in these last couple of games especially.
Skylar is an elite athlete. She's doing a much better job of being under control. I think she still has to work on like kind of not just predetermining or just going and jump stopping, but they're habits. So those take a long time because in high school you can do it. But we've seen glimpses of amazing things. Like she'll fly through the air, hang, and make a left-handed float. I have no idea how she does it. But she just has to continue to learn. She's going to be a very good player. I love to coach her. She's our best overall athlete, and she's long and she can shoot. Like she's going to be a star. And it's just day by day, teaching her how to not be so hard on herself and like just getting 1% better every day. And she's going to be good. And the great thing about our team is she's going to be put in situations where she's getting experience and she's getting better. I think if we were a lot more loaded, she wouldn't have as many opportunities. So her growth this year is going to really skyrocket.
How coachable is she?
She's very coachable. She's a great kid. She's like a straight A student. She does whatever you ask. She plays hard in practice, probably one of our hardest in practice every day. Never takes plays off in the game. She may be lost or something because she's a freshman, but never doesn't try. And she's coachable, and I enjoy coaching her. The thing I'm trying to teach her is to not hang her head when she makes a mistake. Like, you're a freshman, you're supposed to make that mistake. Like, if you knew that, then we would be teaching you something else. So just being like giving herself some grace and giving herself positive feedback, which we talk about a lot. Because if you don't love on yourself, who's going to love on you more than yourself? And I think learning that, like, when she makes a mistake and then she hangs her head, it's compounded. Then you make more and more, and you're not going to feel good. So just teaching her that, which she has improved that tremendously from when she first got here. Before, she'd be like, like now it's teaching, and also teaching her, you're not supposed to show your opponents how you really feel. So if you miss a shot and go, then someone attacks you, they know you're frustrated. So you're not supposed to ever show how you really feel. So we talk about that a lot. Sometimes I'm like, smile after practice, I'm like, but it's just a process. And when she's a sophomore, she's going to tell the next freshman, I used to do that. So that's just how it is. But I love coaching her.
How's Isis doing on her way back?
Good. She practiced yesterday, so she'll be cleared. And she's in the process of being cleared now. She ran like 5 miles yesterday, so she's perfect. But yeah, so happy to have her back. So we'll be at the strong 8, magnificent 8.
That magnificent 8, obviously there's attrition that happens throughout the season, and obviously, knock on wood, no more major injuries or anything like that. But players get worn down. Down the stretch of this season, does that make you reconsider anything about possibly pulling the red shirt on Montea?
Well, yeah, Montea's not going to play this year. Yeah, I'm like 99.99% sure. It's actually her birthday today. But no, just why? I think if there was a situation she could play, and I could change our mind, but I am like 99.9999% sure she won't, because why would I risk it? Like, for her to play 2 games and lose a year when she's going to be a star and a great player. She's so good. It's like, I want to coach her for 4 full years, and I want to help her go pro, and I think that she's a player that can do that. So it's not worth wasting a year for a couple games. And just think about it. When you're cleared to play, you still have to get in basketball shape. You have to then, that takes like another month. So that would be so late. I don't think that's worth it. Now, we'll talk about it. She'll want to, but I'll have to explain the pros and cons. And so I'm leaning towards not doing it for her, not for me, because for me it helps to have another body. But for her and what's best for her, I don't think I'll do that. So.
What's the scout on? We'll start with Oregon State.
Yeah, so Oregon State, they're coached really well. Beers is a lot. Like, she's really good at getting position and just taking high percentage shots. She can also hit 17-footers, but really good at posting up early, really good at rolling and sealing and turning and scoring at a really high rate. So very hard to guard. I think they're obviously excellent on pick-and-roll situations in, like, the middle of the floor, and they have shooters around them. They play really smart. They play at a really controlled pace, which is like a different style to us. We know that we're going to face a really sagging defense, and I'm sure we're going to face zone. Even when teams don't play zone, they like to play zone against us. But, and it's a hard place to play there. So playing in Corvallis, they have an incredible atmosphere for women's basketball. They'll probably have 10,000 people, so it's hard to win there. And we know we're going to have to play really well. Or you have to play a little bit better on the road to win games. So we're going to go in and try our best. And then Oregon, a lot of pick and rolls. We're going to face a lot of zone. Oregon's a little bit younger, but they're hard to guard too. They play this matchup zone that's funky, and it's hard to play against. And they have some really talented young players. And we know that Oregon is a lot better than their record. We know Oregon is a good team, but like us, very similar situations. We're playing our young players, and we're taking some losses because we're building for the future. Because both of our programs have lost a lot of people. That's kind of how it goes. That's just how programs go. So, but we know they're a good team that's going to play really good at home. So these are both two hard teams and two difficult places to win. So we're going to go and try our best.
And how do you prepare your young players for taking their first Pac-12 road trip?
Just like how we prepare for every game, it doesn't change. We don't talk a lot about it because they're already going to be nervous. And it's funny because I didn't realize like Kaylin and some of our other players haven't ever been to like our next trip is to Washington schools. Kaylin's never played at Washington or Washington State, and I didn't realize that till she said it yesterday. But you just prepare every game the same, not too high, not too low. You don't put any more emphasis on any other game. I mean, the good thing about Jada, Brea, and Skylar, especially Jada and Brea, they've played in a lot of big-time games and like big environments with USA Basketball and stuff. So I think that they're not going to be probably as nervous. But Skylar, it's totally different. But even like our transfers, Isis, Courtney, so like 8 people haven't ever played there. So it's gonna be a new thing. But I think it's fun, and exciting.
Jada's game exudes confidence. How does that personality that she brings to the floor fit this team so well?
Oh, it fits me well, and I think that's the only reason why she came here to play with me. But I love her passion, and I love her approach to the game. I love her mentality. I love her work ethic. She's a great player, great teammate. So she's the kind of player you want to coach. I think that despite her not being the tallest, not being the quickest, she's going to be really good because of her mentality. I'm telling you, because she's going to work. She's going to figure it out. She does some really smart things as a freshman. She reminds me in a lot of ways of like how Kelsey Plum was as a freshman. Like Kelsey Plum was as a freshman. It wasn't perfect. She wasn't like the best defensive player, but she just worked and figured it out and got better at something every year and became phenomenal. And I think it's a very similar work ethic. They're different, but like she has some traits that I think will make her successful. And she's a connector, she's vocal, and then people want to play with her. So all those things she does, I really value and I like. I really enjoy her. Her and Brea and Skylar, our freshmen, are awesome. That's not even including Montea. So Montea, we have an incredible group of young kids to really build off of, and we will build off of them. Then I got Montea for 4 years after this year. So that's good for the future. Now, the challenge as a coach is keeping that group together. But they're all playing right now, so if we lost some of them, then like I don't know what to tell you guys. But I think they're happy and they're flourishing and they're growing and getting better, and they love each other. This group, like it's a really good core group. And then Caitlin's only a sophomore. So like this group of youngsters, and then we didn't take any fifth years, so everybody can play another year. So Solly will get healthy, come back. Isis, Courtney. So we're just gonna get better, but now it's just gonna be keeping everybody intact. Okay, cool. Thanks, you guys. Oh.